Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Sharice Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. My name is Sharice Walker, and today I am here with Gao Motsemme. And so would you like to introduce yourself and tell us who you are?
Thanks for having me.
Okay, good.
I'm Gao Motsemme. I come from Botswana in Southern Africa, and for 10 plus years I've relocated to Germany. And normally when I start, I just love by extending the greetings to your audience, and I do that in my native language.
Please.
And that is Dumelang, Dumelang Lokai. And the direct translation of Dumelang is agree. You know, lokai is where you locate yourself. And with that, as we are here with Unbreakable Mompreneur, the question is, what are you agreeing to even when you come into the space? What is your intention? And when you come through, are you coming through as the unbreakable mompreneur willing to spend time with yourself and take what you can take for yourself? Or you still scattered thinking about mom roles and serving everyone but not yourself? So I'm grateful to be here.
Well, I'm actually glad you're here. And I do believe that things happen for reasons. And this week has been a rough one for me. My son finally graduated, and then my other daughter had this MRI because thought we were going to have to put her on cancer medication. Then it was our anniversary, and then we're trying to get ready for all this stuff. And then I have, because I'm a realtor by day as well, and had some cancellations or, I have some listings. And so it's been a week, right? And so you're feeling this heavy load. And so when I saw that you were coming on, I'm like, oh, I need you because we forget sometimes about ourselves, and we forget, we're so busy trying to do these things. And on it was Thursday, my friend called me and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm laying in bed." And he goes, "That is not like you." I go, "I know, but I need to take a breath." It's been just a hard journey to get this son to graduate. And not that he's a bad student or anything, it's just special needs, they need a little more attention, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true.
So anyway, tell us what you do and how you help people.
Actually, I love that you shared with me a little bit, and I believe a lot would also relate with that. And here's what I do, because I just started feeling this before I jumped on the call, and I know it's like tapping into the energy before we even start, right? So what I do is, I'm a human MRI psychic surgeon, that is, I get to know what is going on with the body. And the energy before we just got in, it's just like in the head, like it's kind of like the headache, but it's just like a lot going on. I can feel it in the front, in the head, just right there. And that shows me that there is a lot that is going on, which need really that breather and coming into the body and not overthinking and just being. So at the core of my work is basically helping people to come back into the body. So the body is the consciousness that actually communicates with me. So I get to know what is going on in the body, where the memories are stored, because at times we're holding into a lot of things, whether it's mental, physical, emotional. We may say something, but our body's saying something else. And when the mind and the heart and the body are not aligned, it becomes this chaos where it's kind of like you're scattered and all that. So that's what I basically do, helping people to break free from generational imprints and patterns, connect to their higher self so that they can tap into the unwavering self-love and embody their confidence.
I love that. And I got to be honest with you. I used to think, I think it was 10 years ago, maybe it was 12 years ago. I used to run a massage therapy school. And one of the teachers worked on me because I was having lots of issues. And so he would go and he'd clear the chakras. And that was the first time I ever heard that there was generational baggage, basically, right? I used to think it was kind of foo-foo stuff that wasn't real, but the more and more I learned about it, it's also in my book, I call it the fourth turning, from two different people. I need to give them credit, but where we carry this stuff and we learn all this stuff from our ancestors and from the people before us that we're not aware sometimes. So how do you identify that and how do you help people to clear it?
Yeah. It's a gift that I have, and I believe, especially even when you're talking about who we are being, as
Right.
I meet you as Charisse, and I'm here as how, and there is someone, Judy, Melissa out there,
Hmm.
Bob, you know, we all have the frequency that we emit. But when I say we have a frequency that we emit, first then there is a unique signature blueprint that is just within us. And
Hmm.
then we are in this family where we learn what we learn, we absorb what we absorb, and this becomes our truth. Most of the people they are not in alignment with their unique truth. They're
Right.
living either their parents, the society, the cultural truth, and all that. And we go ahead and create our life from this imprints, which is old templates that does not serve us,
Hmm.
especially when in the past it was more about survival. It was more running away from something, but we don't get to stop and start creating, which is us moving through
Hmm.
towards the inspiration, not running from the desperation and all that.
Right.
So when I meet with people, there is different aspects that shows up,
Hmm.
and it's often the ancestral
Hmm.
and the inner child. I would say ancestral parents and inner child that the loudest when I connect with people is in like what the body is bringing forth. And how is that expressing itself in the body? It's expressing itself through pain, numbness. Sometimes, like I said, that headache when it's some mental stuff going on. Sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's physical. I can tell when I connect with someone from the intensity as well, whether it's something that has manifested in the physical body or it's just energetical. That's why at times I can talk about something
Hmm.
and someone is not aware of it yet because it has not registered. This is when we wait until something has happened, we go to the doctor and they diagnose. Sometimes we can feel the pain, go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, oh, everything seems fine. We don't find anything. But you know something is not right because you can feel the discomfort and all that, which often people go and take medication to silence that. But the
Hmm.
body is speaking louder to say there is something that needs to be attended to here. So what I do is I connect with the consciousness of the body. The body basically brings in what needs to be paid attention to. If at all it's something that comes from the childhood, that child will come through with lots of emotions and guide me to some abuse that happened. All this is more like mapping it out in the body where it is. At times it can start as the headache, but when I connect to the headache,
Hmm.
um, it will take me somewhere else. Kind of like a map, which is
Yeah.
kind of like interesting because when you go with it, it takes us somewhere else, somewhere else, somewhere else, and then we get to the core. But the main thing that I get to do for me is like get to the core so
Mhm.
that a lot of things can fall in place or a lot of things can start shifting. So I scan the body to know what is going on, what is imprinted. We may have a conversation, but it's just a conversation that we're just giving the mind something to hold into. But the main work is through the body, it's energetical. This is why I love to invite people to be in the body. Because another thing, every time when something happens, even when I mentioned that there is a lot going on in the head, is that for us to deal with that, we start going to the mind. We work with the mind. What can I do? We're thinking about it and all that. Or we leave the body because it's too painful. We can't process this. But when we leave the body, it makes it hard for us to heal that, because we can't heal what we don't feel. So we get to be present. And the same thing when it comes to creation. You can't create what you don't conceive. For us to give birth to a baby, we get to be pregnant with the baby, we get to nurture it for 9 months and then go through those labor pains. But at the end of the day, as much as it's pain, we're excited because we know that there is something amazing that we don't even know what it's going to look like, what it's going to be, but we're excited for that. So the same thing applies to our desires. So that's what I do so that you can align with whatever. Everything that you want, it has its own frequency. If we're speaking about your health, different things will come through. If we're speaking about relationship, different things will come through, wealth, things like that. But at times, like I said, the body will bring through. You may come here thinking that I want a relationship, but then there is something that needs to be dealt with. That's what will come through in the forefront. But on the other hand, is leaning and allowing, because when that shifts, what you thought you wanted will fall in place.
Mhm.
Because at times we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. Um, I need to clarify something. Structural integration was what it was with massage therapy. But I also want to go back. When you first started talking about it, you named two people. Did you say Melissa and Bob, just as like names? Did you throw
Yeah.
it? So here's the crazy thing. And this is where I think that you're connected with what's going on in my head, because my daughter's name was Melissa. In the first year of her life, no matter what, she called her dad Bob. So I'd say dad. She goes, Bob. Bob. And so it's so funny that you chose those two names with the because I mean, but it does. It shows that you have a connection that you probably didn't even realize. So anyway, there you go.
It's just mind blowing. But yeah, those are the names that were coming through. And
Yeah,
somehow I kind of knew that it's either here or someone who's gonna listen is called that name. So I'm like, okay, let it go with let's go with it.
that was crazy. Well, you talk about, so let's talk, because obviously she's one of my children, and I think she's very sensitive, right? And so what are some of the, like, if you can reconnect with your inner child, how do you boost your confidence so that you can change your reactions and in your relationships currently?
Mm. And inner child is a very strong part of ourselves, and is also a part of us that knows what we're here to do. It's connected to our vision.
Mhm,
But on the other hand, is a part that started consuming things or even buying into things when it was still in the womb.
mhm,
How you felt as a mom, this is what we transmit to our children. So for us to for us to create anything, first thing, to feel safe in our body,
mhm,
to feel safe in the planet, to be worthy of the resources that are available even,
mhm,
is for that child to feel safe. So we go back to whatever that was happening. And here's the mind-blowing thing. Because at times we're looking at the set up in this lifetime as in like my mother, my father, okay, fine. My mother was working hard, everything was fine and all that, and it looks like it's okay. When people talk about trauma, I don't even understand what that is because everything was perfect. But it's as simple as everyone is busy, that trying to provide for you. You're right now as an adult, you may understand that, but we had a good life. Everything was available. We had money, we had food, even though we're not crazy rich, all the stories that we tell ourselves.
mhm,
But the inner child felt abandoned because the parents were busy. And at times it can be, especially for us mother, it
yeah,
can be a mother who is available.
mhm,
We're doing all that we can for our children. But on the other hand, we get to provide and all that, especially if you're a single mom, because there was a time when I was working hard. I was coming home at 2 a.m. as an accountant. That was like a lot. And in the morning, I have to be rushing to take my children to school and go to work. I remember there was a time when I was brushing my son's teeth with my facial scrub. It's crazy, but I was present, right? Like I was present, that's what I said by then. And he kept on turning around, mama, and I was like, time is going. And at the end, when I looked at him, oh, that's a facial scrub. I'm sorry, babe. I did what I did. So I was trying to do what I could, but I was not fully
mhm,
present. And at the same time, as much as when we grow, we understand there is a part of this that hates the work because it's kind of like the work was more important than me. So these are the traumas that are created. And it goes even beyond that because there's other lifetimes, whether you believe it or not. This is something that I'll just give you an example with myself besides my clients, where I grew up with a lot of anger as a child because of the dysfunction that was around me.
right.
And I thought it was just the anger and all that. And one of the evenings, my inner child just came through and said, "You want to know why I'm angry?" It was just a voice. I'm like, "Okay, yeah." And the voice disappeared. I sat there and I was like, "Okay, whatever. I'm gonna go sleep." So the moment as my head just hit the pillow, I just went into this trance. Like I'm aware that I'm awake, but at the same time, I'm aware that there is something happening beyond me. So I was transported into another lifetime, and I got to experience what this inner child went through. That is, she was sexually abused by
Mhm,
her father in that lifetime. And here's the thing, the imprints, how all of that came to the surface in the body. It was repressed. It was always there. It was always informing my choices, my decision, how I feel. But I was not aware. I didn't know where it came from. But when I was ready, that's when the inner child brought all these things to the surface for me to heal it so that I can deepen the work that I'm doing. So the inner child is connected to the vision that we're here to give birth to. It doesn't matter what it is, but you're not feeling safe. It's getting in the way of that. And another thing, it doesn't mean you don't have to know what is going on, especially when we're working with the body. It's a matter of allowing the body to bring that and we clear that. Like when I say psychic surgeon, when I identify something that is happening, it's like I'm pulling that out. I'm pulling those webs out, and it clears so that we can have that clarity and things can discuss. It's really at a cellular level. It's a cellular level work. And as much as it's not like an open surgery, but on the other hand, you get to feel it in the body because your body will tell you, I need a bit of rest here, just as much as you do after going like a normal medical surgery. So it's the same thing. You need to take care of yourself and allow your body to sort of like those cells to come together, regenerate and all that. So it's deeper body work. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So is that because it's a process that you use? It's the African ancient quantum medicine. Like, is that part of it that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this something that you practice from your ancestors, or is this something you've taught yourself? Walk me through what that is and how you got to this point.
Yeah. It's a gift that I inherited basically from my ancestors,
Okay.
because I said I always knew that I'm here as a healer, but I didn't want to be weird, as normally when you talk about these things, the
Yeah.
first thing is like, oh, you're weird. But again, my family with a religious background, my parents were just like, oh my God, you're gonna be a traditional doctor when I started sharing when I was young. So just go to church. So that was like a way, a hideout, go to church, and I did. I went to church as a child, but a lot of things didn't resonate. This is why I'm very big on following your truth, because your truth may not be your family's truth, may not be your partner's truth. I was married before I was married. And my partner as well felt like this is also crazy, like I'm not being intelligent and all that. But on the other hand, the calling was there where I felt like there's no how I can run away from myself anymore because I was miserable. I had anxiety. It's like I was fighting something
Yeah.
bigger, like
Yeah.
fighting against myself, but I had to allow that. So when I started doing this, at first I was just like, it was like that wound that was like, oh, it will be nice to channel some angels because I hear people channel angels. But that was like a part of me that wanted to be accepted by my family. Like when I come and say like, okay, fine, I'm not that much into religion, but I'm channeling angels.
Mhm.
But when I started to wanting to do that, I was just told, go back to your roots, because as much as I wanted to do something else, but there was kind of like a block where I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know what my gifts are. So I was more disconnecting from myself, trying something that is not really me, and I was told, go back to your roots. And it's quite interesting because the moment I started embracing and going back to my roots, it all came together where this knowing just increased and I just started knowing this is something that we've always done. It's like in my blood. I was born to do this. So it's just like that easy, that joyful, that fun, curiosity, which is what happens when we are in alignment with who we are. Yeah.
I so agree with that. And that's one of the big purposes of this podcast is because I want women to follow their dreams and to follow what they feel like as I call it a calling, you've called it that. And so like we're all put on this earth, I believe, for a reason. And until we figure out that reason and we do it, we feel it like there's chaos, And once we can find it, that's where the comfort, that's where the peace comes from. And so I commend you. I know that it has not been an easy road and it's your story to tell, but I commend you for coming to peace with what you feel you need to do. And so anyway, thank you for that. Well, I want to ask, like, without going into detail, because I want you to say that for people who are interested, but what type of a process? How long does it take? Are there multiple sessions, or what can somebody expect if they were to talk with you further?
I mean, it's different for everybody, but what I can tell you is at first I was doing this work. I was working with someone for 12 weeks.
Mm,
And there's some people that have, it's actually at first when I started was offering session, which still was also mind blowing. But
mhm,
I stopped the session because when I'm talking about ancestors, inner child, sexual energy, and being full in the body. So I tried with 12 weeks and I compressed it to 4 weeks. I compressed it to 8 weeks. And all the time, every time people got amazing results. I've had people who came in and they had surgeries that were booked already with their medical doctors. And just because the appointment was further and they were in so much pain, they came through. After 4 weeks, when they went back to their doctor, it's kind of like, all this has disappeared, you know? So
yeah,
it's mind blowing. It's different for you. The most important thing is
mhm,
you being open and being willing. You know,
mhm,
like I said, it has helped me as well, as in for me to have been separated with my children. I got my children just through this work and I didn't pay any lawyer. But at first, when I was using the logic, I paid 7+ lawyers. You know, I had a daughter who was born with some issues. And as they told me, like the head was just growing, it had cysts where it was not supposed to
mhm.
have cysts. And told me, in this part of the brain, the cysts will never go away. So we don't know how much the head is going to grow. But before she turned a year, all of that has disappeared, you know. So
Wow.
it's just amazing things that happen, you know. So it's I've had one lady actually come through. It was just a master class, you know, and she joined that master class. She has witnessed like traumatic incidents where she saw her mother being sexually abused. And second thing, she went through the abuse. And when it happened when she was 12, I can't remember 12 or 9, she told her mother, this happened to me. The mother already dealt with the abuse by doing drugs. And
Mm,
when this daughter came and shared with her, this is what this man did to me, she was so gone, and her response was, so did you enjoy it? And with that pain, she started doing drugs as well. She is 63. So she came in this one master class, and that was like 90 minutes or so. When we were done, she was in tears. She said, my inner child came through smiling. And since then, her life is different. You know, she's saying, I feel, she has different perceptions. She's connecting with people differently. She's writing poems, like now connecting to that creativity part, you know, and it's just out of 90 minutes. So it's mind blowing.
It's
Yeah.
and Tony Robbins talks about, because I read about him in my book as well, that you have the beautiful state and you have a suffering state. And he says to go talk to your inner child or go talk to your younger child, think of specific incidents in your life and connect to those. And it sounds like that's kind of on a much grander scale what you do, but it's the same type of thing, is that you have to heal that inner self. And that's what I talk about with trauma is, if you cannot heal yourself, then how in the heck are you going to have a healthy relationship? Because you're not healed. And so you have all this trauma and this baggage and all this stuff. And that's why I think there's so much divorce now, because we aren't thinking clearly. Like I definitely wasn't thinking clearly with my first marriage. I didn't know what a commitment meant. I didn't know that, oh, for eternity, that's a long time, you know? And knowing at the altar that I shouldn't have married my husband, but I didn't know how to say no, right? So all that
Oh,
stuff is, oh, that's a story. Read the book. But
I'm getting chills. This is saying that because that's my truth, and I believe it's the truth of
yeah,
many women, where
yeah.
they're saying yes, but they know I shouldn't go
Well,
ahead with.
yeah. No, I was like kneeling across the altar and I heard a voice in my head say, Charisse, get up and run. And I looked around thinking it was my dad. My dad was on the other side of the room. Like, no, I know for a fact. And I fought that for a very long time. I'm like, oh, I was just me and nervous and blah, blah, blah. No, it's much, it was much more than that. So, I really do believe in connecting and healing ourselves. And I think that it's a fantastic thing that you're doing to be able to help people, because I think we'd all be happier people if we could heal ourselves.
Absolutely. And one of the big desires for me, especially when you're talking about mothers, at the core of my being, I truly
Yeah.
believe as women, we are here to heal,
Mhm.
to restore the heart of the planet.
Right.
And we can't do that if we can't hold
Yeah.
space for ourselves. I still foresee a time when a woman can hold space for a girl child and empower a girl child even in her sexuality, can hold space for a boy child and most of all, hold space for the king in our life. And when I'm talking about a king, I'm talking about us knowing that we deserve to have a partner,
Yeah.
not a child that we need to mother. Because there is this belief that men are just children. But when you show up as a woman embodying your queen, you
Mhm.
want a king in your life, you want a partner. So you're going to hold your partner to a certain standards, so that he can be who he was meant to be when he came here. And he can also hold space for us to grow beyond what we are. So that's a beautiful growth relationship and inspiring and empowering our children to be better because we are being better and we are also growing and learning together, which is, for me, it's like the best thing that we can do. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was beautifully said because I think in a time where there's so much femininity, where it's like women power, it's no, we don't need women power. We need to we need to be the queen and we need to find a king that is like deserves us and we deserve him. That is so well said. Thank you. All right, so obviously we could go on forever, but how do people find you if they want to get a hold of you?
Gao Motsemme, GaoMotsemme. I'm available in Instagram, howmotsemme.magneticconfidence. I'm available in LinkedIn and Facebook. And for your audience as well, I'm just gonna share the Calendly link, which is just offering a 45 minutes intro to my magic. If at all you're interested to know what your consciousness is saying, what is standing in the way of your success and freedom, just book a call at bit.ly/orgasmic clarity.
Orgasmic clarity. I love that. I love that so much. Well, Hal, thank you so much for coming on. And moms, if you are struggling with your inner self, if you're struggling with finding that peace and that happiness, please reach out or figure out something that is going to heal you because you can be such a better entrepreneur and such a better mother and such a better person because you're happy and you're at peace with yourself. So thank you so much for coming on and have a fantastic day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Cherise Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Cherise Walker.